Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I'm just sitting here in my robe drinking my morning coffee looking sexy as hell as usual. And for those of you who say I don't look sexy as hell when I do these videos in my robe, nobody cares what you think. I didn't ask you shit. Alright, this topic has come up again a few times in questions in the last few days. And I know I've covered this in the past before, but with so many new subscribers, clearly a lot of people are not familiar with this, and this is really an important fitness topic, and that is this whole idea of how weight training and resistance training reduces cancer rates and improves your body's ability to fight off cancer. This isn't pseudoscience, this isn't arbitrary, this is stuff that has been studied quite heavily in the scientific literature, and there's a big difference here going on as far as weightlifting versus other forms of exercise. Now, what people need to understand, put in simple layman's terms, yes, cancer cells are made out of amino acids and protein. However, they are glucose driven. They can only burn sugar. Most tumor types, most types of cancerous tumors, with some exceptions, can really only burn blood sugar. Glucose is a fuel source to keep themselves going for their metabolism, and they tend to have fairly fast metabolisms. If you can starve them, then they will start breaking down their own amino acids or protein for fuel to keep going. So it can help your body fight them because they'll start shrinking themselves slightly due to starvation. Just like your muscle tissues, if your muscle tissues are starving and they don't have fuel, they will start eating themselves for fuel. They'll break their own proteins down to turn into glucose. Well, cancer cells can do the same thing. So yes, they're made out of amino acids, but they need glucose for fuel. Tumors tend to have a pretty high insulin sensitivity. They suck in insulin. Insulin is your body's primary transporter of glucose into your cells. It's what takes all your blood sugar and sucks it into various cells. It pulls it in there to give them for fuel. All the cells in your body that use glucose, they're transported by insulin. What we find is that muscle tissue, particularly trained muscle tissue from weight training, tends to have a much higher insulin sensitivity. And weightlifting tends to obviously make your muscles bigger and make them more sensitive to insulin at all times, even when you're resting. As a result of this, your body needs to produce less insulin to transport the same amount of glucose into your muscle tissue. And so your muscle tissue tends to compete for the insulin. You don't need as much of it because it seems to drop your blood sugar faster if your body produces too much insulin. So it reduces insulin resistance. It means your body makes less of it. Less circulating insulin, in turn, means that cancer cells and tumors trying to grow and form get less fuel. They get less calories. Now, all forms of exercise, while you're doing them, will pull in insulin and glucose. They will pull in blood sugar. They'll use it for fuel, but you're not doing those 24 hours a day. Yeah, sure, light cardio absolutely does that. But if you're only doing it an hour a day, that's another 23 hours a day that your body isn't doing that, which leaves the cancer cells free to do so. Weightlifting is a 24-hour turnaround on that, meaning if you lift weights over time and you get stronger, bigger, you gain muscle mass, you improve insulin sensitivity in your muscle tissue from the weight training, it is a 24-hour effect. So accordingly, we've seen in the data that independent of other lifestyle factors, that when we look at the variables and we cut out the other lifestyle factors, because people who lift weights tend to live healthier lifestyles, but we find when those are isolated out, the weightlifting itself still cuts cancer rates in half. So if you personally had a 6% chance of developing X type of cancer, it will drop to around 3%. That's pretty good. And people who weightlifting continue to weightlift during their cancer treatment double their own survival rate. They have twice the rate of surviving the cancer treatment and beating the cancer. So when we talk about weightlifting specifically, not all exercise is being a very effective lifestyle tool for helping fight cancer. That's what we're talking about. We're basically talking about the increase in insulin sensitivity helping to deprive the cancer cells of nutrients and glucose. They just can't get as much blood sugar. Alright guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. If you enjoyed this video or you like my work in general, please remember to click like down below. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and share this video with people who you think might find it useful, beneficial, or informative. So I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.